I think that I don't understand. I think that there's always this idea of want versus need. You know, everybody wants to do everything. You know, nobody wants, there's a culture of nobody wants to be left out, right? And, you know, I think novices and intermediate level guys need to learn a little bit more patience. And like, guys, you're going to be allowed to do everything eventually, but go through the stages, right? Okay, white belts are not allowed to do this, this, and this. It's for their own safety, right? They don't have enough body control, understanding. They're going to get hurt if they're going to allow certain things. Why? Because white belts have a tendency to argue more, right? As far as like, they don't understand the position, so I'm going to argue. And they get hurt. There's definitely needs to be some, you know, some levels to grow into. And again, it goes back to longevity in the sport. That's the idea behind the rules and the safety, is longevity in the sport. So we want to keep you in the sport and training as long and as safely as you can. That's why there's, okay, you can only allowed to do this, 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 this belt, and this belt, and so on and so on. At black belt, okay, allowed everything except for heel hooks and slamming. Why? Knee injuries, neck injuries, we want to avoid those, right? So, yeah, the people just need to understand want versus need. We're giving you what you need, which is safety, longevity in the sport. What everybody wants is to be allowed to do everything.
That's
You know what I mean? So, in my academy is want versus need. I'm telling what you need. I'm not going to give you what you want. You need to learn some patience, and eventually you will be able to do everything if you stick long enough with the sport. And that's the idea, right? Or the art is for you to get to black belt. That should be everybody's goal, right? That should be an incentive, a motivation. It's like, man, I got to keep training because once I get to black belt, I'm going to be able to do everything that I want to do. That doesn't mean I don't teach it. I teach it. I teach everyone the moves. My guys that teach the no-gi classes teach all the techniques. So my instructors teach everything, but you as an athlete have the responsibility to know the rules and play by them. If you don't like the rules, don't play, or go look for an organization that allows those rules. But I highly, you know, recommend my guys to, hey, be patient, play by the rules. And the thing is, because here's the thing. The interesting about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is that you can get really, really good at one thing and just mangle everybody with it. And heel hooks is one of those things, right? If I just train you in heel hooks, you can beat everybody up and damage everyone. Fair. Is it an option? Yes, it is. It's an option. But you're going to have no tournaments to compete in, no events. Nobody's going to take you because you haven't built yourself any reputation where you can. So what's the point, right? Unless you want to go, okay, go into MMA then, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, so why not make yourself as well-rounded as possible? So as a beginner, okay, you have a certain skill set, a certain amount of tools that you should be getting good at, right? Arm bars, you know, arm locks and chokes, gi chokes. Arm locks and gi chokes. And your basic Achilles foot lock. Remember, as a white belt, you're allowed to do that. So you have your, you know, your arm locks, your basic arm locks, your basic chokes, and your straight Achilles. Okay, then you move on to the next stage. Okay, now you're allowed to do wrist locks, right? You know what I mean? So now you have another tool that you can play with. And you can start getting better at controlling people's backs and submitting from the back, right? Okay, then you go to, you know, brown and black. Now you have your knee bars and your toe holds, right? So you at each stage, you can, you know, improve certain weapons, right? And you really should be good at all of the basic attacks. A basic arm lock, kimura, you know, rear naked choke, you know, any type of, you know, Americana, right? Lapel chokes from the front, from the back, you know, wrist locks, basic foot locks. Okay, then you move on to advanced foot locks. So there's a progression there where you can specialize afterwards. There's nothing wrong with specializing. But in my opinion, as a white and blue belt, you should make yourself as well-rounded as possible and have a good foundation. Submissions, escapes, basic guard play, and passing the guard.
You
Right?
probably have more
So,
flexibility too.
and of course, let's not forget. Okay, there's once you hit the ground, there's 4 areas. You know, taking away the takedown aspect, right? There's 4 areas. It's simple: escapes, guard passes, guard play, and dominant positions, right? That's it. So you should have a base, a fundamental base on those 4 areas before moving on to specializing, whether it's in a particular guard that you're really, really good at. And everybody should be specialized on a guard in one or 2 guards. You're not going to be good at every single guard. It's impossible. But you can be really, really good in 1 or 2, you know? So eventually you figure out what that is. Everybody is going to gravitate. My job is to give you options, and then your job is to find out the one that you like best and specialize. I think you should only, that I'm not saying you can't specialize early on. You can. You can. You can specialize as early as white belt. I can teach a white belt to beating bolo everybody. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's intelligent on my part. My job is, pardon? Long term. Because once someone figures you out, then you're done. You know, once someone figures out that's all you do, then they pass your guard. The problem with specializing in a guard as a novice is that once someone passes your guard, you're toast.
Yeah.
Right. It takes a long time to get good at escapes. You know, even as black belts, like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it takes a long time to get good at escapes. It really does. Mm-hmm. So I think if you specialize in the guard as white blue, someone passes your guard, you're done. You know, your game is over. So I think you should focus on, okay, good close guard. Why? Defensive guard, smart. Don't get your guard passed. Basic attacks, basic sweeps. On that level, when you go to tournaments, you're going to have more success as a white belt, as a beginner. Beginner versus beginner. Remember, it's jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. All right? Okay, again, yes, I can make someone specialize and be successful in tournaments, but I'm not doing them a good service overall in their whole jiu-jitsu journey, right? You know, my job is to make you have a really solid foundation and then specialize afterwards. You know what I mean? And I think that's the smarter, more intelligent way to do it. Again, there's no right and wrong. You know, if you want to I can take every single, 10 kids now, take them in and just go strictly advanced sport. And they're going to kill everybody in tournaments. You know? But is that the right thing to do, though? You know, because I don't think it's good for the art. I don't think it's good for the martial art. Yeah, it's good for the sport, but not good for the art. Because in the long run, if they have success, they have to move on to the next belt, right? If they continue to have success, they move on to the next belt. And all of a sudden, this is a black belt who wants to open an academy, and they only specialize in a few things. So what about the rest of the art? You know what I mean? Like, do they have... And now they have to relearn the whole fundamentals, the whole self-defense. They got to relearn all of that, and in order to have a successful overall school. Why? Because competition is only 3 to 5% of most school student base. All right. So, I think it's a juggling act to try and find balance. But I think the tiers is the best way to do it, right? Mm-hmm. Fundamental, novice, intermediate, competition class. And you have to progress through each one. Again, long-term success versus short-term success, right? I want long-term success, And I think this is the smarter, more intelligent way to do it, is to have these tiers. Novice program, intermediate, guys who just want to have fun and roll and enjoy the sport, compete occasionally here and there on the local scene, versus competition class, super hard, super difficult, super intense, and only modern game, right? And I think this is the way more intelligent way to do it.